Good morning, everyone, or good evening. How are you all doing? So today we will crochet grapes and leaves, grape leaves. I will come back to this a little bit later. This is my prepared little pieces that I can make my videos a little bit shorter. But before I will start my lesson, I would like to come to the pages 8 and 9 and look at few motifs that I didn't make videos and I am not going to make videos. So I showed you how to make motif number 1. Motif 5 is very similar to motif 1. They are almost identical, just few leaves sections are less in a 1 than in a 5. 5 is kind of bigger, longer to make, but it's the same. I'm not going to make motif number 2, 6, and motif number 9. They are very easy to make, and I think if you followed me with lessons for other motifs that are more complicated, you can very easily make motif number 2, 6, and 9. As I call it, they are ridiculously easy. Today we will make motif from page 8, grapes, and we will make a leaf, an entire motif. The crochet pattern for this motif is on page 98, and by the way, at the bottom of this book, of the page, each page, they tell you that where exactly the pattern diagram located for motifs. Not all of them fit in the next page where the diagrams are. So what they did, they posted diagrams for some motifs on the back of the book. And right here we have motifs numbers 11, 13, and 14 on page 10. Motifs 12, 15, and 16 on page 11. Motif 10, the one that we're going to do today, on page 98. And motif 17 on page 99. So this is how you find it. Because you probably noticed that the 2 pages are dedicated to photos of motifs and another 2 pages for diagrams of the motifs on the previous pages, but not all of them can fit here. And their diagrams are quite big. They are really easy to follow. They're really good diagrams. So today we're going to make quite unusual motif. Not unusual, but unusual way of making it. The diagram, as one lady wrote to me and said, is very complicated. I cannot understand. So when I was making grapes before I discovered this book, I was making my buttons separately and sewed them later together. So I would collect how many buttons I need for the entire grape cluster, and I was just sewing them together. You can sew them, or you can crochet one button, then crochet next one, and as you go, attach with a slip stitch to the previous button, and just do it this way. It's also easy to make. But we will follow this diagram. I really want you to understand how to read it and how to crochet this way. It's not easiest way of making it, but it's possible. And all tricks of crocheting this motif I will show you today. So let's look at the diagram together and try to understand and have some sense of it. Let me put something not easy to hold it in my hands, but I will. Okay, so we have the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on. And you can see they go this way. The way crochet is done, of course, we're always looking for, to make sense, at the beginning arrow and the end arrow. So the beginning of our work begins right here, that triangle. And this is the end. So we will, it's always at the same almost spot we begin, and almost at the same spot we're coming back. Also, we are looking for this, for the arrows like that, because those arrows shows us the direction in which way we have to crochet. And then in this diagram, it's a little bit complicated in one way. It's not really, we don't have enough of those arrows here. So it's quite complicated to see and understand, okay, which way I'm going now. So if you don't have enough arrows, all you have to do, just follow the stitches the way they go, and you logically just think about, okay, is it make sense to go this way, or that way? So here, and of course follow the numbers of the motifs or buttons. So those numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the middle of a circle, they are numbers of buttons and numbers in which and the direction which we will go. The confusion only comes here when we have 4 and 4 jumps, not this way, but jumps right the way to the bottom. It's very easy to make. Unfortunately, there's no like arrows that you have to come back to start here. The arrow only starts over there, and then it's not going, does not show which way to go next. So I guess we will have to figure out and learn how to read this kind of diagrams. So we will begin. Well, let's look at more numbers and more abbreviations here, symbols. So we already know that those little crosses are single crochet stitches. Those numbers indicates the number of the buttons. The numbers inside the stitches, you can see 12, 4, 4, 12 throughout the work, sometimes 16, here's 18, different numbers. So you'll have to follow, you don't have really to count anything. All you need to do just to look at the numbers. And those numbers are good to follow by, to know where to stop and end by looking at the slip stitches that are made. So slip stitch here, first slip stitch, it's the beginning, and then 18 stitches, and we come into the next slip stitch, and then we'll have to go this way. So first button we will make only 18 stitches, 18 single crochet stitches, and then transition to the next button. And here we have 12. And again, it's repeating itself. Only at the last button we have 24 single crochet stitches. And then again, we will follow the direction of your work. 12 was here, 12 over there. So basically this last button tells us and indicates how many single crochet stitches are going to create one button. So one button consists of 24 single crochet stitches. The same here, if you can see, here we have only 4 stitches, then we connect, and then only to finish 20 stitches. The same way it's right here. So each button, if you count those, look at each button, it has different numbers, 4, 4, 16, but if you put it together, it will be 24. The same here, 4, 4, 4, which 12, and then again 12, we have 24. So now let's figure out which way we will go and how we will crochet. So first, since it is a beginning here, we will start from here, and we will crochet single crochet stitches over the padding cord. But padding cord here is made in a circle. We will have to crochet, create a cluster of a coil, I like to call it coil or cluster. We will have to use something similar to the size of a pencil. So you can get a pencil. My crochet hook that I always use, the handle of old crochet hook, is basically the same as my pencils in diameter. So this is what you have to use to wrap thread around it. So if you use a pencil or knitting needle that is almost the same size as a pencil, then we will have to wrap thread around the pencil or knitting needle 20 times, and then we'll start our crochet. So first we will start make our slip stitch to secure our thread, and then we will make 18 single crochet stitches. After that, that will be the fun part. We will have to make one more coil of thread. Again, we will have to pick up our pencil and make a coil of 20 rounds. So we will have to wrap thread around the pencil again 20 times, and then crochet only 12 single crochet stitches. Basically, we'll crochet only half of the button, and we repeat this 2 more times. Wrap thread around the pencil again, 12 stitches, crochet only half. Then again, wrap thread around the pencil 20 times, but this time at the last button in this row, so this is a row, first row of buttons, we will crochet 24 single crochet stitches. And after that, when we will finish 24 single crochet stitches over the last button, we will have to make slip stitch in the connection between first stitch here and last stitch of that of those 12 stitches. How to do this, how to make slip stitch and where to make it, that it will look nice and neat, I will show you as I will crochet. And then we will go and crochet again to continue 12 more single crochet stitches to make total of 24. Again, we will make slip stitch between buttons. Again, we will make 12 single crochet stitches, slip stitch, and then only 4 stitches to finish. Remember, we started our first button with 18 stitches only. We need 24, so we have to add 4 stitches here, which is not going to complete 24, but right in here, as you can see, we will have to finish later as we finish our crochet with those last 2 buttons. But that is a totally different story, and we will come back to that. So first we will have to make first row, and I will stop here. We will make first row together, and then I will explain the rest of the diagram. So when we will make the second button, our 12 stitches, and we will make single crochet stitches over here, 4 stitches, this is when we will start second row of buttons. How to make this one, I will come back and I'll show you. So I will put my diagram aside. You better follow your own diagram, and I will show you how to crochet the first row, how to start the second, and how to finish all this. And then I will show you how to finish an entire cluster of grapes. So let's do that together. Let me move some things around here to prepare. So for this lesson, for me, for myself, I am using crochet thread. Crochet thread number 8. I just pick up whatever I have. I like to use for buttons softer thread because stitches look way better. It's like here's my prepared, not finished piece. According to the book, this is supposed to be our front or right side, but I personally like this side better. And for all clusters of grapes that I ever used, I have a tea cozy where I used grapes. I prefer this side, the round side of buttons. They look prettier to me. I like that side better than this. So, buttons look way better when you crochet them with a softer thread, something that is does not show stitches too much. So the stitches are not distinctly seen. The thread, the thread itself don't separate each strand that lay next to each other on the button right here. So this is my personal preference. You can of course use something else, but I will use this thread. I use Pearl cotton number 8, crochet hook 0.9 millimeters, and of course for me easier to use my crochet hook, you can use pencil. Pencil or small pen, I also have pens like that, they also will work this side. So first, let's start our first button. So over the pencil or knitting needle, whatever is like 5-6 millimeters in diameter, wrap thread around 20 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I always take this short tail over the first 10 wraps of thread and continue wrapping thread around 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This is when I cut this thread, so it's kind of secured inside and it will not bother me as I crochet. This is why I cut that piece. Then you very carefully take this coil of thread off the pencil or whatever you use. Be very careful here not to lose and destroy your coil of thread. And first we will make slip stitch to secure all this this thread together. As you know, I already showed you the little trick how to make this coil a little bit more organized. I use scissors, insert scissors inside the coil and open scissors inside. Kind of stretch the thread and it will look way better and neat. Now we crochet 18 single crochet stitches around the coil of thread. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And let me just make sure that my stitches on the back look nice and neat, because for me personally, want the wrong side to use for my motif. I also will go ahead and again open my stitches, not stitches, the coil of thread to make it a little bit neater, easier to use in crochet, and continue my crochet. I still need 8 stitches, so we have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and now if you have happened the coil kind of sticking out here, showing itself, I always use a needle the wrong side of the needle where the eyelet is, and push this thread inside, back inside the stitches. And it works really good this way. So I will use needle quite often, so I will keep it handy next to me here. So how many stitches I made? 15, I guess, right? 15 and 3 more. $16, $17, and $18. After this, we will have to make another button and use pencil to wrap thread around. So keep your hook with the stitch. You don't want to lose that stitch. Then pick up your pencil. And to make it easy, this is how I do this. I just placed my hook, holding it with thumb and the fingers here, holding this like this. This will be easier way to work and do not lose stitches, and that hook will not be on the way when you wrap thread around the pencil. So this is how you position this. Basically, your pencil and the hook have perpendicular shape position. And now we will wrap thread around the pencil or whatever you use 20 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. With 20, what I would prefer to do, I don't want to make it too complicated, but I want this thread on the back right there. So the easiest way of doing this, before I take thread off, I move thread right away on this side of the button. I didn't figure out yet how to do it easier ways, so I will show you how I do this. And now very, very careful here. This is the most tricky part, not to lose coil, not destroy the coil of thread that you just made over the pencil, and we have to take it off, that pencil out. So very carefully, I already prepared my hand, left hand, to hold a coil of thread and continue crochet. So I will take it off, let my pencil go on its own, and we have to start crochet very close to the last stitch right here where the hook is. So first, before I start, I go and pick up all strands, make sure that I pick up all of them, holding, as you can see how I hold it, secure, really tight together. If your coil kind of misbehaving, scissors go to help again. So now it's all look a little bit nicer. And you see how my hook is and thread is. Thread next to the last stitch. I'm holding my coil with the left hand, and now I'm ready to make my first stitch. Make it really close to the button that you made previously. So you cannot have a big gap in here. It's not allowed. So that stitch right here that we connected one button to another has to be tight. So we need to make, according to the diagram, 12 single crochet stitches around the button. So first stitch I already have. Now 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So you can see my wrong side and my right side. It's slightly stretched here, this part, but don't worry about it. It can always be fixed later. And we will make slip stitch, so that thread will go into the slip stitch, and we will pull on it a little bit. It will naturally fix itself when we will make slip stitch when we'll come back. So we made our 12 stitches. Again, the same thing, we have to keep our hook inside the last stitch. So keeping hook inside the last stitch, again, pick up your pencil and make sure to position your hands this way. This is how I hold everything. It's just easier for me. So first I make sure that my pencil, my hook positioned perpendicularly, and my thumb holding my hook, not allowing this hook to move anywhere. This is basically how it looks like. And I don't know, probably you will find your way of holding this, but this is how it is comfortable for me, and I believe that if you play with it a little bit and practice, you will see that it's actually very easy. Now wrap thread around the pencil again 20 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And you know that before I make that 20, I'm going to move thread on this side here. So now I'm ready to take this off, the coil. So my left hand that I crochet, keep my thread in, tension and everything. You know how I keep my tension by pinky, wrap around the pinky first. This is how I do this. Now let's take this coil off very carefully. So not to lose it, I use my thumb at the end of the pencil or whatever, my handle of the hook, and the middle finger holding the coil. I'm ready to slip off the pencil to grab the coil. Do it slowly, there's no rush, very carefully. Now, you see how I pinch the coil of thread and release my handle. First thing we have to do before we do anything else, before the scissors, now it's not the time to use scissors. You don't even know how the coil of thread behaves. First thing, we have to insert the hook inside that coil of thread. Grab thread over there. I grabbed something else. Okay, put the hook in. What I will do, I will just pinch here to make sure my coil of thread looks fine. There's nothing wrong with that, so I don't need to use scissors. All I need to do to make sure that I can start my next stitch close to the last stitch of the button before. This will probably look kind of weird the way I hold it, but this is the way I figure out easy for me. And I'm making my first stitch, single crochet stitch around the coil right in here. And now just continue crochet. So first stitch is done. Now 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 'Something is a little bit stretched here, so I'm not really worried about this right now. I will take care of this later. And I also want to show you something, another trick that I use to make sure that my stitches on the back, you see how neat they lay next to each other. There's no separation anywhere, and you cannot see the thread through. You cannot see that padding cord through the stitches. The trick is, and last 2 stitches, I will show you how I do this. Normally when we crochet, we go with the hook like that, right? We go under, grab thread. The same you would probably do like this, right? We go on from this side. But when I go from this side to crochet, what happened with the thread? You see how it's moving to this side. And when I crochet this way, when I grab thread that way, I have the gap in here. So instead, what I do, I go with the hook inside the coil, and then I go like that on top, grab this way. That way my thread on the back will always be close to the stitches before. 11, you see, I just move with my hook thread. Naturally, it just moves itself to the right position, and then I don't have to worry. If it happens that it's not working, you can always go back 5 or so many stitches and fix the stitches together. Make sure that they are nice and neat and snug in here. So I made my 12 stitches for the 3rd button. If you want and if you need to stretch a little bit to organize the stitches, this is how you'll do that. So next we need to make the last button in this row, and that button will consist of 24 stitches. We will complete the entire button. We will make a whole circle. But again, before we make button, we will have to position our hook and the pencil or handle of any other device you will find to wrap your thread around, and position them this way. And wrap thread around 20 times. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This time I will just keep it here. I will not move it, just for you to see what will happen. It's not going to damage anything, so I will just keep it the way it goes. The thread naturally lay in front. That will not damage anything. So again, I am holding my pencil in a certain way so that I can, at the end, pushing this pencil out, grab the coil quickly and let my pencil go. Insert hook inside the coil of thread. Make sure to pick up every thread right here. And make sure that you actually starting from the right place. So the first stitch and the last stitch, last stitch of the previous button and first stitch of the new button will be nice and neat and together. So you made your first stitch, and if you need, with scissors, fix the coil of thread. And now we need to make 24 stitches. So first stitch is made, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I on purpose make it slowly so that you can see how I move my hook when I make button. You see, like this. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Be careful here not to damage the button before. 21, 22, 23, and 24. So have to be very careful here not to damage stitches or thread in the button before. Now my button is finished. These 24 stitches are made. There's no fixing need to be done. All stitches are neat. And now we make slip stitch. So let me show you where to make slip stitch. You go for slip stitch into the last stitch on the previous button. I go into the top and into the side of the stitch. Pull thread through and make my slip stitch. And then I have to finish 12 single crochet stitches here on the other side of the button. Make sure that those stitches right here transition when you go back and crochet the other halves of the button. Make sure that those stitches right here are next to each other, that you don't see a gap between them. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So I'm done here. Another slip stitch between the buttons. So you go into the button before, on top of it, and on the side of it, and make a slip stitch here. And crochet 12 single crochet stitches around the next button to continue this button too. 1, 2, 3, 3, oops, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And sometimes you have to move thread a little bit differently than you normally crochet. Just make it easy on you. Move thread with left hand to fix everything. And again, we're making slip stitch into the last stitch of the previous button, going on top of it, on top of that stitch, on the side, grab thread, pull through, and through the last stitch. And according to the diagram, remember, we have to make only 4 stitches here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here we have a little gap left. We will use this only when we will go back at the very last button. When we will finish this button also together. So for now, it's incomplete. We have 22 stitches around this button. And this is how it looks like, your first row of buttons. And this is how it looks like on the wrong side. And I don't know how you feel about this, but this is looking way better than here. So now let's come back to our diagram again and see what else we need to do. So our last stitch is made here, our last 4 stitches over the first button. Now we will make buttons second row. We will go in this way. We will make 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and we will also crochet only half of each button, connecting those buttons to the row before, to the buttons of the first row. In the last button we will make first 4 stitches and then 20 stitches to complete, and then finishing again like before, 12 stitches, slip stitch, 12 stitches, slip stitch, again only 4 stitches here. So this bottom row will be also unfinished as we go this way. So 2 stitches will be missing here, 12 will be missing here. When we will make third row, 12 missing here, and then only when we will be ready to crochet third row, and then when we will make one side of the third row, then when we will go back, we will crochet the other side of each button on the third row, and then continue and finish the sides of the buttons here. And finish this part. This is how it will work. But let's go ahead and make this one. First, let's look at the diagram and see. So right now we will do, we will make a coil of thread, 20 stitches, and first we will crochet 4 stitches, then connect to the second button. They show single crochet here. I do not use single crochet, I use slip stitch. Looks way better. Then again 4 stitches over this button number 5, and then again make coil of thread of 20, wrap thread around the pencil 20 times, make first stitches connect to the second button, then again 4 stitches connect to the next button, another 4 stitches, make another button, again 4 stitches connect to the button number 3, 4 stitches connect to the different button. After that, again 4 stitches and create next coil, and this time crochet 4 stitches, connect to the last button of the first row, and finish 20 single crochet stitches around the last button. And then finishing the row, we go and finish slip stitch, we finish sides of each button, 12 single crochet stitches, slip stitch between the buttons, 12 single crochet stitches, slip stitch between the buttons, then only 4 stitches, and then just exactly the same way, this part as we did right now here, you repeat the third row exactly the same way as the 8th row. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at this number as the 8th. You repeat the third row of buttons exactly the same way as the second row. And then exactly the same way we will make row 3, only in this row 3 we have only 3 buttons. And we'll get to this. So let's make together this one, second button, and see how it works. So first, most important part, reconnect your hook, holding your hook like this, get your pencil and make and wrap thread around. Twenty times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So for myself, you can keep the 20 wrap in front. I always go on the back. Now carefully take the coil off. And first step hook goes into the coil, and make sure before you take your fingers off the coil that your hook all the way pick up all thread. Like this, and make your first stitch. I don't think I grabbed the thread. No, I didn't. Make your first stitch. That first stitch always complicated, and I don't know what happened. I think what happened, my thread somehow, oh boy. twist it somewhere. And now I have to somehow pick up that stitch here. Oh yes, I did. Good. I thought I lost it. So I don't know what happened here. I have to undo it. No, I don't. Actually, no. There's something happened. I don't know what happened. I'll do it again. So I'll grab my thread and make my first stitch. I have no idea what's going on. Okay. Somehow my thread twisting. I have no idea why. So now first stitch, then 2, 3, and 4. So first we need to make 4 stitches. I will, before I go any further, I will go and organize this mess with my scissors. It's still looking kind of funny here, but it's okay, it will go away as we crochet. So we made first stitches, 4 stitches in the 5th button. Now we have to connect this to the 2nd button. Also, connection in the diagram, you count 4 stitches this way from the on the button of first row. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I insert my hook there. As I told you, I do it with slip stitch, not a single crochet. Reconnect with the last button here, with the 4th button, and pull this stitch through like this. And make 4 more stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, you following me, right? So we made our button. We made 4 stitches connected to the 2nd button of the first row. Now we made another 4 stitches, and now we're ready to make another button. And I'm showing it slowly so that you can follow very well and see what's going on. Again, I'm wrapping thread around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So let's take this off very carefully. Now we go into the make sure that this coil is not jumping into your hands, which is not easy to avoid. It will do it anyway. Grab thread and make your first stitch here. So, and also according to the diagram, we crochet first 4 stitches So one stitch we have already, then 2, then 3, and stitch number 4. 4. So I made my 4 stitches, and I have to connect this button also to button number 2. So in button number 2 of the first row, we're going back and we count here another 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Insert hook into the 4th stitch, pick up 4th stitch of the 6th button and pull it through like this, and crochet 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again we stop here, and so we made first 4 stitches connect to the button here, second, now 4 stitches and we connect to next button. So we go into that next button and counting from this connected area, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 stitches, and connect with this button right there. Slip stitch, just move. Basically it's not even a slip stitch, I just move loops through the button on the top, and then continue crocheting 4 more stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it's very easy not to lose the count of those buttons that we crochet now, this button and next, because we have already 12 stitches here. 4, 4, and 4 3 times. 4, 12. Half of the button is done, and we connected this. Always look if you connect it right. 1 time and 2nd time to the next button. Then 4 more stitches, create next button. So again, and create next button. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. As you notice, you probably notice I'm not moving my thread in the back anymore. It just takes time, probably confusing for you. You can try, but I will just continue doing this way. Okay, now very carefully go into the right place. I feel like I need to redo my button, not sure. But when I was making this, no, everything is fine, look like. Oh boy. Something moved a little bit. Let me see. I guess everything looks fine now. Okay, so 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we connect to third button. Again, from the place of connection, we count another 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Insert hook there and pull thread of the last button, last stitch through. And 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we already see it's very easy to understand where to connect, right? Now we connect to this button. Again, we count from the place of connection. We go and count 1, 2, 3, 4. Insert hook into that 4th button stitch. Pick up last stitch or 4th stitch from the button below of 2nd row. Pull this stitch through. Again, 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is how it looks like on the back. It's time to fix if you want to fix any stitches. Okay. And it's time to make last 4th button in the 2nd row. So again, wrap thread around the pencil. 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And now, very carefully, take this off. Insert hook first into the coil. Make sure you are you pick up all thread and make your first stitch. So first we make here 4 stitches. 2, 3, 4, and first, before we will finish, we connect to the last button here, again counting 4 stitches from connected place. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, I count wrong stitch. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Connect last buttons together like this, and Now each button, as we remembered, have 24 stitches. So we made 4 stitches here. Now we have to finish with 20 stitches our last button. Then we'll make slip stitch between, and then 12 slip stitch, 12 single crochet stitches, slip stitch, and only 4 stitches here. So let's do this. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 'So what I was fixing, you saw, right? I was fixing thread that was showing between stitches. 10 and 10 more. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Make sure you don't damage coils of thread before. So now, sometimes if you have a gap in here, all you have to do just move stitches slightly. I was moving them before on the other side because I didn't know that I will fit all of them. So now we will make slip stitch again into the button before. Last stitch goes in the top of stitch and on the side of the stitch. Slip stitch. And now we will make 12 single crochet stitches between slip stitch, 12 single crochet stitches, slip stitch between, and they want us to make only 4 single crochet stitches over this button. And I'm sorry I did not see people coming and saying hello. Hello, Dee, Wendy, Vagabond. Hello. Okay, I missed some bits. Catching up. Is there 24 stitches in each ring? Yes. Yes, Wendy, each ring has 24 stitches. But not all of them we make right away. So at first you made one side of buttons, 12 stitches, the last button 24, and then the rest side 12 stitches. So this is what gives us 24. So okay, now let's continue. And we will make 12 stitches here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Sometimes it helps when you fold the buttons to make your last stitch here, and then again slip stitch in buttons in the stitch of the previous button, like this. Thank you, Wendy. It is really cute motif. I not necessarily like the way it's made, the process, but when you practice, you're used to it and it looks good. My only problem with connecting areas, they are not as neat as I would like them to be, but it's not bad anyway. So I made my slip stitch, 12 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Here slip stitch, and that stitch that was kind of stretched a little bit disappeared. I guess it's gone. It's good. And 4 stitches. So at the last button, don't worry about this little, if you have happened something like that. I can even show you how to rid of it. You can just cut that piece or take care of it later with the hook or needle. Now the last button, we have 4, we have 8, 4 more will give us 12. So half we will make right now. We'll finish half, we'll make 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now this is what we have. 2 rows are almost finished, except those gaps that we have to come back and make later. Now let's come back to diagram again. So this is where I finished right now, those last 4 stitches here. And now, exactly as we started our second row, make a wrap thread around the pencil, make 4 stitches, connect to the second row to the next button. Again, 4 single crochet stitches over this button, then create another coil of thread, make another button, 4 stitches, connect to this button, another 4 stitches, and I lost myself where I am. Oh my gosh, here, 4 stitches, connect, 4 stitches, where they can, okay, 4 stitches, connect to the next button, then again 4 stitches, create next button. So you repeat this row exactly as row 2. Okay, And let's go to the third. I will not make this to, I just don't want to make this so long, the video, because I still have leaf to make. So when you will finish the crocheting the other side of the buttons on a third row, exactly the same way, 20 stitches here to finish, 20 here. Then 12 slip stitch, 12 slip stitch, 4. And after the fourth, this is when we will make start next row. I will get my prepared piece. So here I am. Let me come back with you together to the diagram. I want to make sure you understand everything. So here is my piece. I'll put it on this side here. And so first row is done. Second row is done. And you can see those last stitches here, 12 stitches, are not finished. The same third row, last stitches of the last button. Actually, it's a first button of a third row is not finished. We will do it right now. I will show you how to do this. And I already made my third row. Third row is done, I'm sorry, fourth row. Fourth row is done exactly the same way as second and third, only except you're not making 4 buttons. You only make 3. You stop at the third button. And third button is done slightly differently, in which way? That we have 4 stitches connect to the button of the third row, then 4 stitches connect to the last button of the third row, and then finish 16. This is what gives us that, I'm sorry, and finish 16 stitches. Now after that we will make 12 stitches to finish the button. Here 16, because you see we have 4, 4. We have to make 16. And then 12, 12. And when we come to our first button, remember we had here 2 buttons are missing. This is what are they. We have to fix that area here. I don't know why they did it. You can, I would say you can very easily make. Actually, no, they are right, because yeah, they're right. So 2 more stitches to finish our first button. So let's come back now to row number 3. I almost finished it. Almost finished this. So I have my 4. Like if I look this way, it's easier. Always 4 connected, then another 4 connected, and now I have to make 16. I already have here, I don't know how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I need 16. So let's crochet 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14, 15, and 16. So you see I fold the buttons, previous buttons toward me so that I will not damage with the hook. It's very easy to damage them and I can make a big mess. So I finished my 16 stitches of my last button of the 4th row. Now slip stitch. So here those buttons, if you look this way. So here's the button here. I'll make my slip stitch and then I make 12, slip stitch, 16 over there. So let's do slip stitch first. Again, we're going on top of the button on a side with a hook, pull threads through and through the stitch of previous button. Now 12. Somehow I have here stretched thread. That is not a big deal. Honestly, it will go away. I can pull it. It's probably stuck in stitches below. So you can always go and stretch it a little bit to make it look nicer. And 12 stitches. So let's crochet 12 stitches. 1, okay, spliced my thread somehow. Start over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and this is on a way and it's not easy. 11, and 12. You basically have to very carefully go on the back with your hook to swing the hook freely. So again, I made 12 stitches and make slip stitch here, like that. And this is how it is. This is where we add. Those 2 buttons are done, and now we add the last button of the first button of the fourth row, and we need 16 stitches here to complete. Button number 13, 16 stitches, slip stitch, 12, slip stitch, 12, slip stitch, 4. So this is what needs to be done. Okay, now 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if you see that buttons kind of separating, you don't want that to happen. You want to move them close to each other. Check once in a while what's going on. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Next, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, I'm sorry, 13, 14, 13, then 14, and two more, 15, and 16. So be careful not to damage your previous buttons. Okay, so 16 stitches are done in here. Can look on the back to make sure everything look neat. And slip stitch between the buttons. Always go into the stitch of the previous button, top and sideways. Slip stitch. Now, so we at the bottom of the diagram, those two stitches, buttons, we have 12, slip stitch, 12. Then slip stitch and two more stitches here at the very first button. So let's continue and finish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. It's kind of funny, by the end of all this, yesterday I was making this grapes. I did them before, and I didn't like the idea of the way it's made. I always was sewing my buttons, but now I kind of like it. This is the wrong side, but I like it, absolutely. Look way better than this side. Okay, 12 button single crochet stitches are finished here on one button. Now we have still here. Make first slip stitch, then again we're going to make, hello Marina, oh, thank you. Again 12 single crochet stitches. Oh, I have spliced thread. So I was repeat slip stitch. Oh my goodness, does not want to behave the way I want. Okay. Now 12 last button, we have 12 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6 more. 7, 8, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. And 12. Now we'll make slip stitch, which is important always when you transition yourself from one button to another. So make our slip stitch. So again, I make slip stitches when I connect buttons right here instead of single crochet stitches. It does look way better. I tried single crochet stitches, didn't work for me. I just didn't like the way it looked like. So you can try, but I'm showing you the way I made a change and it looks way better. So we are at the very last, right in here, where our first button was. We didn't finish. There are 2 more stitches. So this is what we will do. Here they are. We have that gap in here, you can see, right? So now I will finish that gap with 2 more stitches. 1 and 2. And at the end, they also have a slip stitch. When they made last 2 stitches, they have slip stitch in here. And slip stitch goes into this stitch before, like that. And now we can cut thread off and weave it in. And before we do this, there are like a few stitches showing itself. So it's up for you to you decide which side of your work you will use for the project. Right side look like that, and the wrong side. So I prefer always the wrong side. Most motifs actually, I don't know, in knitting and in crochet sometimes wrong side looks so much better than the front. Okay. Now, after slip stitch, after the last slip stitch, weave in your thread inside the buttons. So let's continue. Let me weave in the thread in here. And as I told you before, weave in quite a long piece so that your thread will not come out and will not unravel your work. I will just use one button, the first button, where I will weave it in all the way around, just one time, like this. And after that, you can cut thread off, and that's it. So here's our motif, the grapes. Grapes are finished. The interesting way how they were crocheting, right? This way, just to receive this beautiful, very nice, smart way of making it. So the cluster of grapes are finished. Now let's get to leaves. Let me put away all this all those grapes, and I will get my thread for the leaf. I decided to use for the lesson a little bit different thread than grapes. And you know, if you are up to a colorful crochet, modern Irish crochet, grapes normally can be light green, kind of purple. Leaves are green, of course, so you can create beautiful, colorful grapes. Now, for the leaf, they didn't tell what, how long the padding cord. So for the padding cord, I already prepared my padding cord. I cut, and I cannot tell you, I did not count because I really still don't know how much thread will go into my teeth, into the leaf, because what happened, I started and I cut 4 meters of thread folded folded twice, and I had enough only to finish this part. So I needed to cut more extra padding cord. Now don't worry about that kind of stuff. If you run out of padding cord, I do have a video tutorial how to add a padding cord in case if you it happens that you the padding cord is run over and you don't have it anymore. So I will post in later in description at the end of this video tutorial. I will post the link to that video so that you could see how I do that in case something happened like that. So this, I believe, I hope that this one will be enough for me to finish, and we will finish this together. But I will show you how to start and how to read this diagram. It's a little bit unusual way of crocheting. So first we will start. So cut padding cord, and I would say cut on purpose a shorter piece, like I did, 2 meters and fold twice. You can have double cord. I like really 4 strands of cord because the leaf look way better, gives you a really rich and beautiful texture. It looks on the right and wrong side almost the same, also beautiful. And you decide which side you like the most. So here's my padding cord. I prepared it already. So to start, prepare padding cord 2 meters long, fold in half, or fold twice in half. And I will crochet with thread number 10 so that you could see all those stitches, and it will be easier and faster for me to crochet. If you are learning and you're practicing only and you decided to go with thread number 10, pick up hook or 1 millimeter or 125. This is what I would use. I will use 125. Before we go to crochet, we will read a little bit this diagram together and look at it. So the diagram for the leaf is on page 99, just next to the grapes. And so let's look again. So the first and the main first of all, we have to find the beginning and the end of our work. We're looking for those arrows, right? So this is the end, here's the beginning. The beginning of our work look like that, here's the end. So as you can see, we start with leaves and then we finish with a stem. The key to this diagram and to crocheting this leaf is to follow the red line, that red curvy line. This is how it goes. The small line in here, and that's it. They don't really show anymore. Only they come with those little arrows right here at the stem. So basically tells you when you crochet first, second, and third parts of leaf, then you make your stem, you come back on a stem, and you finish here. That's it. So let's do this. Let's do together. But first, let's read. Let's see how this diagram is made, how to make sense of this. So we start off here from here. we make slip stitch over the padding cord in the folded area, and we crochet. We don't have to really count anything. The stitches are made for us. We crochet 20 single crochet stitches over the padding cord. Then we continue crochet each row over the padding cord, only single crochet stitches, and only look for those numbers. Also, you notice that each single crochet stitch have line underneath. So throughout an entire work, we will crochet in the back loops of each stitch. So first 20 stitches, and again over the padding cord, we're going back, crochet 17. 17 again, turn the work, going back with 15 stitches over the padding cord and into the previous row, and then only over the padding cord 6 stitches. Then go in the back the other direction, turn your work, crochet 14. You can see how rows are changing. They become shorter and shorter and shorter, and then they become longer and longer. Basically, they're not really longer, it's just that the way we shift crochet, we're shifting everything. This is why they actually almost the same size, but we're connecting them to previous. We crochet one part of the leaf and then the other part, connecting the end of each row to the first side of the leaf. This is how it works. And you have to follow those lines in here. Those lines, broken lines, or dotted line I also call them, they show you where those last stitches go, where you connect them to which row and to which stitch. So I would say let's crochet, and at the same time we will look at the pattern, because it will be a little bit complicated to sit and talk about this only and then crochet. So we will go and crochet. I'm trying to figure out how to position everything here on my desk so that I will see a diagram, and you at the same time will see the same diagram. Let me move some things away. Okay. So I want you to see the diagram. I'm not sure if you would see it very good, but this is the only way I can make it. And if I need to show you closer, I will just pick it up for you. So over the padding cord, let's get my padding cord. Over the padding cord. So I took padding cord folded in half twice. So I have 4 strands. You can use only 2. And introduce your thread. So into the folded area where the padding cord is, we make our slip stitch. And then we crochet, it says 20 single crochet stitches over the padding cord only. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20. So we have our 20 stitches. Make sure that your first row is not, it will twist slightly, but make sure it is not like this. Okay, you don't want this to be like that. So make sure it's straight. Stitches are snug together, and padding cord is not shown through the stitches. This is what you want. After that, after 20 stitches, we are turning our work. This is where I am right now, this corner. So turn the opposite way and crochet over the padding cord, and we crochet 17 single crochet stitches, and we will crochet into the back loops of each stitch. It can be a little bit difficult at the beginning here, so what I do, I will just fold my padding cord like that and hold it with the pinky for at least 10 or so stitches. It's easier to crochet. So 17 single crochet stitches. We go into back loops only. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I will stop here and I will adjust this. So it has to be, we don't need a loop, but it was easy to crochet at the beginning, so I will pull this. This is a short tail from the working thread that we crocheted over when we were making the first row, so I can get rid of it. I can just cut that piece after I finish. We don't need to do anything with that. Make sure when you cut this thread not to cut your stitches. And adjust your padding cord accordingly the way I was showing it to you first in the first videos. You already know how I do that. Those of you who watched my videos before, I adjust every single strand of padding cord. That way your padding cord will not be showing in the stitches here, between stitches. So we have 7 stitches, we need 10 more. So don't forget, crochet over the padding cord into the back loops of each stitch of previous row. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. 17. Now it's a little bit, you see how it look like for some reason, but it's okay because you can pull on a padding cord and straighten up the leaf. So make sure it's a straight leaf. Probably don't have to be like that, but because on the picture if you look, kind of look curvy, but here I am, here's my leaf. It's naturally laid, it will curve itself, so I prefer not to curve anything. So now, after 17th row, again we're turning and crochet over the padding cord, first 15 stitches, and then only over the padding cord 6. So again turn and crochet 15 stitches in the back loops, don't forget 2, 3, and it's easy to get there. You can see them, those stitches. Just go with the hook into the back loop. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Last stitch. And of course, before we go, we adjust our padding cord because it does not look really pretty. It's always happening that your padding cord will cut between stitches. Now it's all fixed. Now we still have to crochet this row, but this time only over the padding cord. Continue crochet 6 single crochet stitches only over the padding cord. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 6 stitches. Then we turn again and we're going back, crocheting 14 single crochet stitches. So every time I come to like a single crochet, a single padding cord, it's not attached to anything, this is when it's not easy to crochet. This is when I use this technique of folding my padding cord at first and then I will adjust it later. It's just kind of easy to hold this way my work. So we crochet only 14 single crochet stitches over the padding cord into the back loops of the previous row. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now I can move my padding cord to rid of this loop. Just pull on it. And 4 more stitches. So 11. Make sure not to skip stitches because it's very easy to do. 12, 13, and 14. The hook want to go different way. Okay. If you need a little bit to pull on a padding cord, see how your stitches on the back behaving here. Now, again, turn your work, and this time we crochet 12 single crochet stitches over the padding cord and into the previous row, and then only over the padding cord 4 stitches. So 14, I'm sorry, 12, 12 and then 4. I lost my count. So if you lost yourself, always count those. They also count marked here. 1, 2, those little bumps, turns. First turn, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. So I already have 1, 2. So here, and I finished that. Now I'm going this way, 12 single crochet stitches and 4 over the padding cord only. I also like to use those post-it notes to show me where I am at this moment in my diagram. And so here I am, so that I will not lose my count and will not lose my place in the diagram when I crochet, because it's very, very easy to do. And then you have to figure out. So turn your work and we make 12 single crochet stitches. Again, over the padding cord in the back loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Two more. 11 and 12. I hope you saw my hands moved a little bit. Okay, so we can take our padding cord a little bit, adjust it if it's needed. And still we have to make 4 stitches. So we had 12, 4 more stitches over the padding cord only. And then we will turn. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4 more stitches over padding cord. Now we will turn our work right here and we crochet 14 stitches going back. And so you see again I will fold my padding cord and hold it for a while. So we crochet 14 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. And you see how those rows are. We're crocheting them. At first we're shifting everything this direction to the right. Then we will crochet and shift everything to the left and connect to those bumps right here, to those gaps. This is how the pattern works. So we made 14 stitches. Here they are. Now we're going back. We will make 12 and then 4 single crochet stitches over the padding cord only. So again, turn your work and crochet over the padding cord into back loops and into the previous row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Before I go with my padding cord and continue this row, I will adjust my padding cord because it's kind of misbehaving there between stitches. I can see it. Okay, and now we have to make only, so we made 12, only 4 over the padding cord, only over the padding cord. 1, 2, 3, and 4. After this, we will have to turn our work and crochet. Now notice this. Let me show you closer this row. So we finished this row right here, this one. Now we have to turn back, and we will now shift our leaves to the left and connect to the previous row here. So here you need to count a little bit because they didn't really do a good job of marking. At first I thought that this 15 stitches all the way through. No, they're not. So we will make 15 stitches here, and then you will have to make 4 more stitches connecting to the previous row, then another stitch here, and 2 stitches to the rows below over there, all the way to the very to the third row. So you have to see where those 4 stitches going. Okay, so let's connect together and see how it works. This is a little trick for you. So you have to count here. Some of the stitches are marked, some are not. So we were right there. Now we're turning and going opposite direction. We're making 15 stitches. Single crochet stitches. So at first 15, let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and all those 5 stitches will fit here on this first row. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, oh, I'm sorry, 12, 13, 14, and 15. 15, so 15 stitches we made. Now we have to make 4 more, and I will show you. So I will adjust my padding cord first. And now last 4 stitches. As you remember, 1 stitch goes into the row below. Not even the row below. Row below is right here. We're going into this one. Actually, there are 2 stitches. Let me look. 15 stitches, and this go, yeah, 1 and 2. 1 and 2. No, we have, actually, I was right. 1 stitch goes right now here. But I already did it. Okay, right there. Then, and sometimes if you miscount something, it does not feel like it goes in the right place. Just go anywhere as soon as you make your 4 stitches. So 1, 2, I will have here 3 into the bump I made, and so 1, 2, 3, and 4 goes all the way to the third, right there. This is the last stitch, goes there into that third row. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now make sure that your padding, and it's kind of a little bit, don't know even the word, cannot forget the word, bulgy, but don't worry about it, because you will yes, Marina, these diagrams are way better. Duplet has very bad diagrams. They have their own single crochet stitches, the way they put them, mark them, that the symbols are different, not easy to follow. But Japanese diagrams are probably the best. And I also like diagrams we have here in the United States magazines. They are really good, very precise. This is what important in crochet. So now we made 15 and 4 stitches. We're going back, and we're going back. I will put my marker here. We will make 12 stitches, then only 2 over the padding cord, then turn, and only 13 stitches. So let's first make 12 and 2 over the padding cord. So we turn in our work. I would like to have hot tea. My voice is going away. This is a problem of all teachers. When you talk for a long time, you're losing your voice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me adjust my padding cord. It's kind of bumpy over there. So 7, I believe, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8? How did that happen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, then 11, and 12. 12. Now, as you remember, 12 and then 2 more stitches on its own, only over the padding cord, 1 and 2. Now we will again turn our work, and this time I will make 13 stitches. And here they marked actually for you last 2 stitches. So first 13 stitches you make in a previous row, and then last 2 stitches goes into the row all the way, this long row, is third round, a third row. So 13 stitches, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, then 11, 12, and 13. So we crocheted all of those stitches. 13 stitches fit in the previous row. I will adjust padding cord. So you can try this technique the way I do that when you go back and you have only padding cord, stitches over the padding cord. It's not easy to crochet there. So I hold my padding cord in a with the same hand as the hook. So now last two stitches. So here we are 13. Last two stitches go all the way to the third row. And here it is. This is our row right there. So let's do that. 1, be tight in here, and 2. So 2 stitches. We connected, right? Now we will turn our work again, and let's see what we will crochet this time. This time we will go and make 10 single crochet stitches, then only 2 of the padding cord. So 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so you see how the sections of leaf, first they were shifting this way, now we're shifting them this way. This is what creates this kind of interesting, beautiful leaf. Very beautiful leaf and very interesting technique of making those leaves. The texture is really beautiful. Crocheting into the back loops gives you amazing feel of the crochet itself. And so we made 10 and 2 more stitches only over the padding cord. 1 and 2. So after that we're going back and we make 11 stitches, and then last 2 stitches again go into that third row. So let's turn our work. Again, you see I grab my padding cord to help me here to begin, and we're making 11 single crochet stitches over the padding cord in the back loops of previous row. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. 11. I will adjust this padding cord. And if you have on the where the tip of the leaf, that section, padding cord is showing itself still, you cannot move very well all 4 strands, so go one by one. It's all fixed. Now 2 more single crochet stitches over the padding cord into this row below. It's a third row. So find it right here, and 1 and 2. So 2 single crochet stitches here. This is how it looks like. Then we will have to, so here we are. Now the last section. Here it is. So now we will make, going back, we'll make 10 single crochet stitches and then only 2 over the padding cord. So let's do that. 10 first, 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Adjust padding cord at first, and then we will finish the row with 2 more single crochet stitches only over the padding cord. Two more stitches, 1 and 2. Now we will again turn our work right in here. This is where we add at this tip, and let me put it like this for you. So here we add with our diagram and our leaf. This is our 7th tip right there. Then we will go back and we will crochet 11 single crochet stitches over this row, and then we will connect the last 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches to the very end. And you can see those broken dotted line goes into the stitches below, shows us where to go. Actually, it's not going to be 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Fourth actually go into the very first row. So we have to connect 2 stitches over there and the last 2 stitches into the first row, because your leaf will look like that. So let's do that. And then after that, this pattern will repeat, not by number of stitches, but it will repeat itself, the technique, the way you go. And I will show you how to finish this leaf. So, okay, we're going and making 11 single crochet stitches into the last row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So last 4 stitches going into 3rd row right here into the bump. There are 2 stitches. So 1, and then I will just jump into the bump because not always easy to get into stitches itself. And then another 2 stitches go into that. It will twist a little bit, so make sure to see where you're going. So 2 more stitches here, also over the padding cord. So 1 stitch, 1, and more. And there's still 1 stitch left on that first row right here. We will need it later to connect our stem. So here it is. The first section of the leaf is done. Now let's look at diagram closely and see what next. So next So we have 11 stitches what we finished. We connected all this to the first part, half of the leaf. Now we can make this part and this. They are made exactly the same way as this leaf, the same way you go and read the diagram, back and forth, making sure later when you will have this part is done, and then when you go to crochet the second part of the leaf, you shift the rows to other direction, and you each row ended by connecting stitches to the previous rows of the first half of the leaf. So you have to really pay attention. Use probably sticky note like that. If you don't have, just figure out something that you can use, that you will not lose your space in here in this diagram. Count your stitches very carefully, and of course adjust your padding cord accordingly after each row. So now how we will start? We start with turning, like when I finished right now this last row of this first section. Now to start this one, and the same way we will start this part, we will go and crochet over the padding cord 10 single crochet stitches over the first last row of this first section, and then only over the padding cord 8 stitches, and then everything repeat itself just like right here. So let me show you how to start, and then I will jump onto the last section. So now we're starting this part right here, you see. So the first section is done, and the second will look like that. This is the goal of your work. So now turn your work, and we're starting this part of the leaf. We're going into the back loops the same way, everything over the padding cord. And our first thing, into this last row of first section, we go 10 single crochet stitches over the padding cord, back loops. So I have 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So this is our first. We have to adjust padding cord that everything look neat. Like this. And now only over the padding cord. This will be our first row of the next leaf. 8 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And after that, you turn your work and continue making, going back and forth, and making your leaf. This way we're going, this time we go 14 single crochet stitches. Position your hands. And we're going 14. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So as you notice how the leaf is made, first you make your rows shorter on the left and longer over there. So you shift them this way to the other side, and then you change the shift the opposite direction when you reach the middle of the leaf, and the next part of it you crochet like here, shorter on this side, longer on this side, connecting two parts together. So I will not show you, I will not crochet this with you because it's the same steps you take. We will make this part, the third one, to finish together. So I will grab my finished, almost finished piece, and here we are. So I finished on my sample this part, the second part. Now I will have to crochet third and a stem. So we will go and make here 12 stitches over the padding cord into the last row of the second section, and then 8 stitches over the padding cord only. Okay, let's do that. All I have to do is find out where's my working thread here. Here it is. Let me just check something. I want to make sure I have everything correct here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6. Okay, I have everything. I always have to check just to make sure. Now we're going back, turning our leaf, and we're making third section, 12 single crochet stitches into the last row of second section of leaf. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Adjust your padding cord. And only over the padding cord continue the row with 8 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. Now so here I am at the diagram. Let's look closer so that we will be on the same page together. So we have 12 stitches, 8 single crochet. Now we're going back. After that I will move my diagram away so that I will look at stitches closer and you look at your diagram, okay? So everything actually exactly the same way as we did before. We're going back and forth. So now we will go back. We'll make 16 stitches. then going back again, extend our uh, uh, row on 6 stitches. Then we will go back again, make it shorter, right, on this side, and so on and so on. And then we will, when I will come to the place where we have to make stem, I will talk to you about this sign in here, this symbol, and how to make stem. So let's continue together. I will move my diagram away so it will not be on the background. So okay, so now we will make 16 single crochet stitches. Turn your work, position your hands the way it's comfortable for you. And we're making 16 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we'll make 16, 6 more, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. 16. Now again, we're turning our work. If you look at diagram with me, if you crochet and follow, we turn our work and we crochet 13 stitches first. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11, 12, and 13. 13, when you're learning and just practicing, it's better not to use thick padding cord. Uh, 2 strands enough. Of course, it all depends on the thread you use. I'm using number 10 for your lesson so that I could show you closer what I'm doing. You can see better stitches. But if you will use a very fine thread, of course, you don't need 4. 2 will be enough. But again, you can add more. It's all very personal. Depends what you like. I personally absolutely love thick padding cord. Looks way better, very rich texture. Now, after 13 stitches, we make only over the padding cord 6 single crochet stitches. 3, 4, 5 and 6. 6. Now turn your work again and crochet 15 single crochet stitches over the padding cord in the back loops. So first right here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Okay, now after that we turn our work again, and this time we crochet 12 single crochet stitches, and then only over the padding cord 6. So make 12 here, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So before I will crochet over the padding cord, only I like to adjust all those stitches before. It's easier that way. So make sure that your padding cord is not shown anywhere. And try to make as you crochet that all this is flat as much as possible. Only those places that are connected slightly kind of, bulgy, but it's okay. It does not make it look bad or something. It's the nature of crochet. So we have 12, and then only over the padding cord we crochet 6 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And again, we're going back. When we're going back, we crochet 15 single crochet stitches. 15 single crochet stitches. Now we will go and crochet the second part of the sleeve. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 13, 14, and 15. 15. Now I will adjust this padding cord. Always be very careful with the last stitch. Stretch it so that you will not lose it and unravel your work. If you want your rows, those pointy parts of leaves be a little bit curvy, you can do this. It's, with the time when you will crochet more motifs, you will, adjust things to your liking and change some things. You can pull on a padding cord and it's becoming kind of curve in one direction. So I made 15 stitches. After that, we're turning back and we're going and crochet over the padding cord 12 single crochet stitches. So going back, crochet 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Before we will crochet with the padding cord, adjusting the padding cord. And only over the padding cord we need to crochet. So I made 3, 4, 5, 7, 3. Okay, I'm counting, I'm sorry, I'm counting quietly to make sure I crocheted everything correctly. So I made 12. Now I crochet over the padding cord only 5 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And again. So we are actually made middle of the first part of the leaf. Now we can go back and we will connect to those parts right here, right there. So let's turn our work again, and this time we crochet 16 single crochet stitches, and the last 3, I believe, let me count 1 second, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yes, and the last 3 stitches we will connect to the previous bumps here. I will show you later. Let's just continue first. 16 single crochet stitches. We crochet going back. So make sure you positioned your hands comfortably for you with the padding cord. So 1 now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Basically, this last stitch always very difficult to make because that stitch is not very easy to find where to insert your hook. So before I will continue, I will a little bit fix my padding cord here. Make sure that all stitches are neat, and 3 more stitches going into row below. So I will get, since it's 3 stitches, I will go 1 in the middle here, and then 2 more stitches go into the bumps here, the whatever extended on this side, that row. So we finished that. Now we have to turn our work again, and this time we will crochet 12 single crochet stitches. So now we're going back, turn your work. So now we will crochet 12 single crochet stitches over the padding cord and back loops of the previous row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, 10, and 2 more, 11 and 12. And then only over the padding cord they want us to crochet 3 single crochet stitches. So let's adjust the padding cord first, and 3 stitches over the padding cord only. 1, 2, and 3. Now going back, crochet 14 single crochet stitches, one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 13, and 14. So, and then we will connect to the other side of the leaf. So, 2 more stitches, I believe, there. Actually, no. 1 stitch go here. Okay, they're a little bit more complicated. So 1 stitch goes into the stitch right in here. So look where the stitch is taking you, what they're showing you, where the broken line takes you. So be careful where you're going. Then another goes into a row below. And I stretched my stitch, unnecessary, absolutely unnecessary. And 2 more stitches going into this gap right here. 1 and 2. So of course I will adjust slightly my padding cord because I feel like there are some stitches are still holding my padding cord like this. Now leaf look like a leaf more, right? The more to the end we go, the more it taking its beautiful shape. Now we're going back, and on the way back we crochet 12 single crochet stitches. So turn your work now like this, and into the back loops we crochet 12 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And 12. Adjust our padding cord again. And then only 3 single crochet stitches we have to crochet over the padding cord. I hope I will have enough padding cord. If not, I will show you how to add extra. So 3 more stitches on the padding cord only. 1, 2, and 3. Again, we have to crochet back. 1, 2, 3, and this time we crochet 14 single crochet stitches. And so turning back, I'm going a little bit faster because I already showed in detail how to make the first part of this leaf, and there's no really much to show, and I hope it's not difficult, it's very easy, it's just time consuming. So 14 stitches crochet, 3, 4, 5. I will right away get my padding cord here. And you can ask questions because soon as the lesson will end, and if you have some questions, you can always ask me. So now we crocheted, we made 5, we need 14, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. 14, so before I will do anything, I will adjust all this. Like that. Now we have to connect to the other side, and we need to connect with 3 stitches or 4. Just a second, let me count correctly. 1, 2, 4 stitches. 4 stitches to finish, to connect, and then 1 more little piece, and then we're done. So now let's look carefully here. We have 4 stitches to make. I'm looking at the diagram, it's upside down for me, so I want to make sure I'm doing everything right. Okay, so I can connect here 1, 1, then we go down in the bump here 2, 3 in the bottom, and 4 into the very first section here. Okay, adjusting a little bit our padding cord because it's, for me at least, it's misbehaving here. I don't like the way it looks on the back. Like this. And what is left? Now the last section here, we're going 10 stitches back. So turn your work again. Turn your work. Don't forget you still have to crochet with the padding cord. So over the padding cord, 10 single crochet stitches in the previous row. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 stitches we have, and then only over the padding cord we will crochet 2 stitches. Two more stitches over the padding cord only. 1 and 2. And now we can turn our work and finish this sleeve. Our last row will be 11 stitches and 11 stitches right in this side, and then whatever left here, 2 stitches to connect, we will connect there. to the very end. I'm trying to see where else they connect. Oh, okay, no, it's not just there. Okay, I will show it to you in a diagram. So let's first make 11 stitches. Or you know, okay, yeah, I will show you on a diagram. There, I think it make more sense. It will be easier to understand. So I'm right now going to make this last row, and then the last row I will connect to the bump that is there from the section 2. And then you see this single crochet decrease. This is what it means. You crochet 2 single crochet together, and where you go, follow this line, you see. So 1 stitch goes into this area, pick up, bump, whatever you can get, and another one over there into that first stitch that's still in the first row that we made. And I have it, I will just show it to you in a minute. Here it is. So this is that first stitch. And so we will have to make connect here and there, those 2 stitches, whatever is left. I'm sorry, what I'm saying. 11 stitches, then I will go and make 2 stitches right there. 1 and second, this decrease, go into this bump and here in that stitch. Okay? Okay, let me adjust my padding cord. And so 11 stitches. So last row, 11 single crochet stitches, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Now, before I will connect, I will show you all those little details. So before, now we have to connect so that we will not have that gap. You see, when you just put it like that, you have this kind of emptiness. So we have to rid of it. We have to close this emptiness by making stitches. But first, we will go and connect. This is where we started our third section. And here we'll have to make 2 single crochet stitches to connect both parts of section 3, like this. So let's do that first. So we go here. There are 2 stitches in here. Can be seen. That first row that we were making for section 3, this first row has 2 stitches left. This is where we go. So 1 stitch and 2. 2. Now the rest of it we have to have that decrease. Remember I told you about the decrease. So first stitch goes into right in here into that bump. Pick up stitch there. Let me show you better. So we will decrease, that means 2 stitches together. So it has to be done over the padding cord also. So we're going into the bump of that first leaf. And here we have the bump actually comes from that row of the first row of the second section. So pick up that one, that stitch, pull threads through, and the last stitch, that's our first row. Here it is, little tail still hanging in here. So this is where we go. We go with the hook into that very first stitch. It's still there. Pick up, insert hook there, grab the thread, and so now you have 3 stitches on a hook. Crochet them all together. There you have it. This is how your leaf look like. And now what is left? A stem. And by the way, there's still a little opening in here. We can always, when we finish, go and sew it so that it will close. So now the stem also easy. For the stem, crochet 35 stitches over the padding cord only. So just like that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Well, for the sake of time, let me make it shorter, okay? It doesn't matter. Actually, you know what? No, I will make it short. I don't want to go all the way. Well, let me make 20 at least. 17, 18, 19, 20. And now we're going back. Going back also very easy. Now for you to decide, do you want it straight line or you want it little curvy? It's a stem. All stems are a little bit curvy, right? So this is what we will do. Pull on a cord and make push your holding your stitches, pull on a cord slightly, just slightly, not much, and it's already curved. Okay, so now let's finish. Going back, turn your work like that, and we will finish our padding cord, our stem. It's a little bit complicated here, but just like we started before when I was showing you less at the beginning, the leaf. So into each stitch, again into the back loops, we continue crochet over the padding cord. So at the beginning it's nice to hold it the way I showed it to you, and then at some point you can release that, remove this loop like that. Make sure that thread is not showing there anywhere. You don't want that thread there. You want that place to be nice and clean, looking neat. And continue crochet to the very end. You can also take care of your padding cord in a way that you don't have to weave in the ends. So at some point, I will show you at the end, I will show you how I deal with that. And you already saw my other videos. You saw how I finish motifs. There are a few ways of doing it. When you crochet over the padding cord and then you finish, I never recommend cut padding cord right away, because padding cord will, with time, move and leave your stitches kind of hollow, and it can unravel your work. So you don't want that. And you don't want your work look like sloppy, you know. It's Irish crochet is made for ages, to keep it and show it to your kids and grandkids. So you want your motifs finished properly. So let's continue. Finish this and I will show you how to finish the whole entire piece. So going all the way into the stem, all the way in the back, no one would see it. And let's see. There's one more stitch. I can do it. Yeah, I will do it this way. I will make one more pick up stitch and make sure that my stitches, the padding cord is not shown anywhere on a stem. If it starts curved, the curve become bigger and more curvy. If you don't want it, you can always come back and fix it, but I kind of think that it's looking really cute, more like in nature. Like this. Now we can cut our thread off. We finished here. Pull on a thread and we can do a few things. We can weave in those ends inside anywhere we want, and then we will fix that little hole over there. Let's do that. Let me pick up the needle. I will need my pliers. And so first we will deal with the padding cord and try to make sure it's well hidden and look neat so that you can decide which side of the motif you will use. So the idea of the way you finish in your padding cord and how you hide it allows you later to use or right or wrong side of the motif, because it looks both sides look very beautiful. Well, weaving thread inside the needle, not always fun. Okay, so this is asking me to go on this side, so I will just pick up stitches on any place I want, anywhere that padding cord leads me. And since we crocheted over the padding cord throughout entire work with single crochet stitches are really nice and tight. And look what's going on. I will just pull my thread padding cord through the row. That's it. I can cut it off. It will stay there because stitches are tight. You can even feel when you go through it. You can go opposite direction one more time. And I will show you how to do this in a minute. Now another piece. And since I use 4 strands of padding cord, my padding cord quite thick, so I can only weave in 2 strands, and the rest of them I will cut off. So that way it's secured and like this. So 2 more strands of padding cord I can cut off, totally disregard. And the other 2 weave in. And this one also want to go this way. It's fine, we will go and weave it in where it takes us. And if you see that slightly thread showing itself, if you have a good magnifying glass and if you have a good scissors, you can cut that so it will look neat. And then to finish, so that your padding cord for sure will not come out from this area and will not stretch. Go on another side somewhere, also inside the row. Stitches are nice and tight here, and weave in one more time in the opposite direction. So this time it will secure everything like this, and you can cut your thread off. And now what is left? This our working thread, the one that we were crocheting with. We can close that little hole, that little opening. It's not really a big deal, but you can do that. So let's close that place and weave in thread. And we will weave thread in exactly the same way as we were weaving in our padding cord. So what I will do, I will just pick up stitch on the opposite direction, opposite side from each other. One stitch over there. And another stitch. I can pick up here also one more time. And go to the other side where of the hole. So if you have that little opening, you want to close it so that it will look nicer. That's what you do. And then one more time. A few more stitches like that. My hole kind of big, so I decided to go and close it all. And make sure it's not, you see on this side, it looks really nice and neat. But both sides, it doesn't matter which side you hide in your thread. Make sure that the way you weave in thread is not visible. Weave inside the stitches. And I am in a very good spot right here, so I will go and insert my hook into the row over there. Like this. So you can see even right here, you cannot really see much. The only place is here where I was cutting my padding cord, but all this will disappear when you wash your motif. And with time also all those little pieces and imperfections will go away, so I wouldn't even worry about it. And I already decided that this is my right side actually. So go like that and finish. Almost finished, not yet. We still have grapes, right? So let me first, before I cut my thread off, look at my I see now why they were so long, those stitches here. And this is how they do this. You connect two together. This is why the stem was longer, but it does not matter how long the stem will be. So now I wanted to weave in and hide it all the way, but yes, I have to connect my grapes, and grapes need to be connected to the stem. So we have to go and weave in the rest of the thread, move it through the move it through the stem. So do it very neatly and carefully so that the thread is not shown anywhere. And we're almost finished. So bring the thread to the end of the stem and very carefully connect to the grapes. And with grapes here you can hide your thread in the buttons on the back, which is very easy to do. Just weave in the thread inside the grapes. Especially if you work with different color. With one color it will be very easy. I chose 2 different colors here for the lessons, so when you weave in thread in a different color, be very careful to hide it well so that no one will see it. And this is how it goes. And it's very easy to weave in thread in the buttons because they're really, they're not hollow inside, but they're quite generous and roomy in there. So you can really easy move in thread through them. And make sure you don't disfigure your grapes so that they look nice, neat. And this is only when you can come and cut your thread off. And just to be more secure, I will go and insert thread one more time into the stem. Like this. And this is when I can cut thread off. And here's our motif. Or like this, or this way, or the way you want. So here is our motif is done. Our next lesson will be next Tuesday from the same book. So enjoy crocheting grapes for now. You can curl a little bit that leaf even more if you want. So you can play with that. So there. So I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Please like my videos. It's very important for me when people like them. This will bring my video up to the top and recommend the video for others people who like Irish crochet and want to learn how to make it. So also visit my website and Irish Crochet Lab. My video tutorials right now on sale the last week. May 30th it will be the last day, so it's 75% off. So if you are interested, you can purchase my video tutorials right now while they are on sale. That's it for today. Thank you for joining me. And leave your comments, leave your questions for me in comments area, and I will always answer for you as soon as I receive them. That's it for today. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful day and have wonderful the rest of the week. Goodbye, everyone.